Oh my gosh, you won't believe it! It was a super dark night in November, and Victor Frankenstein actually did it. He brought his amazing creature to life. He was watching, holding his breath, as the thing on the floor started to wiggle, and its dull yellow eyes just popped open, and its arms and legs started twitching all over. It was the most incredible, kind of scary thing he'd worked on for 2 whole years. Wow, Victor made something so unbelievably hideous he just had to run away from his lab, totally horrified. He tried to sleep, but then he had this super creepy nightmare where Elizabeth turned into his dead mom. And then, can you believe it, he woke up and the creature was right there, staring at him from his bed curtains. So he zoomed out to the courtyard and stayed there all night, super scared and all alone. Oh, Victor had the worst night. All his big dreams turned into a super scary nightmare. When morning finally came, he just wandered through the streets trying to get away from, well, it. And he couldn't even go home. But then, guess what? His amazing friend Henry Clerval just showed up right there. It was like magic, and Victor felt so happy and relieved. Clerval saw Victor and was all worried, like, "Oh no, you look so thin! What's wrong, and how's your family?" But Victor was still super scared of that monster, so he just raced ahead to his apartment. And when he saw it was empty, oh boy, he felt so relieved just for a moment. But then, whoosh, his feelings went all crazy. He got super duper happy, like bouncing off the walls, and then poof! He just totally collapsed, imagining the monster was going to get him, and then he got this really long bad fever. Oh wow, Victor got so sick for months and months. But his amazing friend Henry was right there, taking care of him and keeping it a secret from his family, how truly bad it was. Slowly, Victor started to get better, and the beautiful spring sunshine made him feel so much happier. Then Henry, being the best friend ever, gently reminded Victor to write to his worried dad and cousin, and he even had a letter from Elizabeth. Victor felt a little bit nervous, but also really happy to hear from her. Wow, Victor, who was still getting better, got this super long letter from his cousin Elizabeth, brought by Henry. She was so happy he was feeling better and told him all the news from Geneva, like how everyone was fine and Ernest had big plans. And guess what? Justine Moritz came back home after her mom died, and little William's doing great, plus all the town gossip. But then Elizabeth said he had to write her back right away because she was really worried. Oh, wow! After Victor read Elizabeth's letter, he just had to write back. And that's when he started getting all better. Then, he got to introduce his friend Clerval to all the university professors. But when they visited Professor Waldman and heard how great Victor's science was, Victor got super sad, remembering that awful night. Clerval was so smart and changed the subject, but Victor still couldn't tell him his big secret. Oh man, Professor Krempe was still being kind of weird, saying how amazing Victor was at science. But it just made Victor feel even worse. Good thing Professor Krempe started talking all about himself instead, which was a relief. But then, guess what? Victor's friend Clerval was super into these super cool languages from far-off places, and he got Victor excited to learn them too. So Victor started reading all these amazing stories from Persia and Arabia and India, and it was like he could just fly away from all the bad thoughts he used to have. It was like magic. Oh, Victor really wanted to go home to Geneva, but things just kept happening, and the winter was so super cold, he couldn't leave, and he was so disappointed. But then, when spring finally came, Henry had the best idea, a walking trip all around Ingolstadt. Victor said yes right away, and guess what? All that walking and the fresh air and just being with Clerval made him feel so much better and super happy. It was like magic. All the yucky, sad thoughts just floated away, and he was joyful again. Oh my gosh, Victor got the worst letter from his dad. It said his little brother, William, was murdered. His dad told him they were just walking in the park when they found William, with this mark from the killer. And Elizabeth was so sad, blaming herself, especially because a super valuable little picture of their mom was missing. So Victor's dad said he had to come home to help everyone feel better, because peace was more important than getting even. Oh, wow! Henry saw Victor get so sad after reading the letter, and he tried to make him feel better. But Victor was super upset and told Henry everything, and then Henry started crying too, all because of William. So Victor decided he had to go home right away, and Henry went with him to get the horses, trying his very best to say nice things, but it just wasn't enough. Then Victor said goodbye to his friend and went off all by himself. Oh, wow. Victor's trip home was so sad and scary. He just kept stopping, like he really didn't want to go, because he was thinking about how everything would be different, and what if something really bad was waiting for him there. He even stayed for 2 whole days in this pretty place called Lausanne, with a super calm lake and big mountains, and it made him feel a little better for a bit. But then, when he got close to Geneva again, all the sadness and scared feelings came rushing right back, like a big spooky hint of how awful things were going to be for him later. Victor arrived at Geneva after dark and had to stay in a nearby village, but he just couldn't rest. So he went to the spot where William was murdered, and then, during a huge thunderstorm, he suddenly saw this gigantic, scary figure. He instantly knew it was the creature he made, and then it hit him. The creature must be William's murderer. He watched it disappear into the mountains, and all his worst fears came true. Wow! After the thing disappeared, Victor just froze, thinking about what he'd made, and all that time, he knew for sure that his monster was the super bad guy who hurt William. He thought about telling everyone, but then he got super scared they'd think he was crazy, and how could you even catch something like that? So he decided to keep it all a big, terrible secret, even though he knew what his monster had done. Victor got to Dad's house super early, like when the sun was just peeking up. He went straight to the library, and he saw a picture of Mom and a tiny little picture of William, and that made him so sad. Then Ernest came in, happy to see him, but then he told Victor something amazing and totally shocking. They found out who did it, and it was Justine Moritz. Victor was so horrified because he knew it wasn't her, and he kept saying, "No way, not Justine." But Ernest just kept explaining all the weird clues that made everyone else think it was her. Oh, and Ernest kept telling us more things, like how Justine was sick and had Mama's tiny picture in her pocket. But Victor, he just knew she was innocent and tried to tell Papa, who looked so sad but hoped for justice. Then Elizabeth came in, and she was so sure Justine didn't do it, even though she was really upset. But Victor promised everything would be okay, and Papa said he'd make sure it was a super fair trial.